So if you want to read about the media project that I'm part of, then feel free to read after this workshop. Yes. So, social media offer a broad range of tools for recording and editing and curating the everyday, and then sharing these representations of the everyday with others. And media scholars argue that social media ideologies and platform architectures in terms of services increasingly drive people to disclose ever larger parts of their everyday lives to wide networked audiences that gather around people rather than around specific, or rather than in specific places. Furthermore, beliefs and norms and practices of disclosing the everyday developed among social media users make the circulation of personal materials online a means through which people connect to others and maintain social relationships and communities online. So circulating or circulating representations of everyday life and then engaging with these materials uploaded by others have become highly normalized activities. And these practices of tracking and broadcasting the everyday have been referred to as live streaming. And today I will be talking about how women, mainly mothers, lives are represented in social media through one specific type of live streaming practice, namely blogging on YouTube, video blogging on YouTube. So recent language-focused research on social media point to a proliferation of highly mobile, multi-semiotic, multi-authored and thematically fragmented stories of everyday experiences that orient to recent or ongoing events, more often than to the past, as we just heard. And these have kind of breaking news type storytelling activities are not exclusive to social media environments, but they thrive in these environments that offer lots of facilities and also explicit prompts that invite people to share immediate experiences. And due to the online connectivity that is associated with the convergence of social media technologies that make circulation and uptake of social media content fast and easy, personal materials shared in live streams is woven into intricate networks of connected individual, digital technologies, and other online content. So live streaming practices, these practices of sharing the everyday online, are multi-participatory. They're characterized by multiplication and diversification of participants, and an elusive producer-recipient dynamics, which, as I will show today, impact upon the form and ownership of how people's lives are represented and their identities are constructed in social media. At the same time that updates from discrete here and nows proliferate in social media, contributions made over time are aggregated in social media archives, and social media platforms increasingly offer facilities for linking content across time and across sites and also across posters or across people. And this, media scholars such as Joseph van Dijk or Alice Marvin claim, make social media users increasingly aware of how their lives are narrated across time, and to generate these digital portraits that Alice Marvin talks about, and that I also referred to in my first slide. And importantly, just as social media users have become savvy in managing their archives and editing these kind of larger images of their lives over time, audiences are skilled in surveilling other people's live streams and gathering and combining digital traces left by them to create bigger pictures of their lives. And furthermore, social media algorithms configure social media content and thus generate paths that cut across time and platforms and media and people. So, what I've argued thus far is that self-representation in social media is multi-participatory and cumulative, as we have just heard. It evolves over time as social media users and algorithms engage with content that is uploaded to social media. And due to online connectivity and this multi-participatory quality of social media live streaming, content shared in live streams, as well as the configurations that this content then becomes part of, is capable of being highly fluid in meaning and form. So representations of people's lives are morphable and can change. In my PhD project, I'm interested in these configurative processes related to the ongoing tracking and broadcasting of the everyday in social media, by which digital technologies, content, sites, and people are interlinked. And specifically, I take a narrative perspective on these practices and ask how information shared in social media live streaming is configured into stories that represent women's and mothers' lives as they unfold over time. And this research draws on and contributes, hopefully, to a growing body of narrative interactional research on social media storytelling. It has shown that stories told in social media can unfold across segments, across media platforms and offline contexts, and can implicate a broad range of tellers. And much of this research then looks into how social media users through language use and social media settings negotiate co-tellership roles and statuses, and negotiate who at various times gets to contribute how to the stories that are told in social media. And what I would like to show you are some of the preliminary findings of my ongoing PhD project that relate to the negotiation of ownership of stories that represent women's lives in social media and negotiations of entitlement to become co-tellers to these stories. So, in my PhD, I conduct an ethnographically grounded narrative interactional analysis of how women's lives are narrated in a specific community. And that is the mommy vlogging community on YouTube that is organized around mommy vlogs. Specifically, I conduct an extended case analysis of how the lives of 7 mommy vloggers are narrated in public social media environments. So the mommy vlogging community is organized around approximately 3,000 mommy vloggers who are mostly white, English-speaking, middle class, well-educated, affluent, married, relatively young women who have left the male labor market and primarily live in Canada, US, Australia, and the UK. And the community is not clearly spatially bounded, rather it consists of a large number of sub-communities that gather around specific mommy bloggers and their profiles on various social media sites, as well as a discussion forum that I will introduce to you later, and a couple of commercial and non-commercial websites and Facebook groups. And while the phenomenon of mommy blogging has received much scholarly attention, mommy blogging is not remains unaddressed. I actually have a colleague in Australia who does a PhD on mommy blogging as well, which is really nice. And we are at the same stage. So we are racing to be the first to finish. And in my PhD, I define mommy blogs as up to 30 minutes long edited recordings of mothers' day-to-day lives, mostly family life. We call it edited and uploaded to YouTube by women. So a broad range of mommy blog formats have developed in the mommy blogging community, most of which are kind of adaptations of blog formats that are developed in other communities and borrow lots of conventions from other types of blogs. And what all of these conventionalized blog formats share is that mommy bloggers narrate their lives as mothers through the recordings of themselves doing motherhood. So I refer to this mode of telling as telling by doing. So mommy blogs consist of sequenced recordings of discrete moments. So it's like we heard about before, it's narrating present moments and then sequencing these recordings. And these specific moments that are sequenced are most often explicitly anchored in a specific time and place. So now it's 8 o'clock and I'm making breakfast. Now it's 12 o'clock and I'm in the school run. All these so they're anchored in time and place. And then mommy blogs interweave sequences of showing, where mommy bloggers directly record events as they are unfolding, letting the camera mimic their own gaze, so pointing the camera on their kids, for instance, or on the dinner they're cooking, and then sequences where mommy bloggers address viewers face to face, directing the camera at their own face. And then mommy vlogs are recorded, are uploaded to YouTube shortly after they have been recorded. Yes. Tellership of mommy blogs is distributed to participants that, drawing on Motherhood, can be located at 3 levels of interaction. So we have on-screen participants in vlogs. Here we have the foot of baby, also a couple of rats in there. So we have the on-screen participants who act as figures, who, through what they do and what they say, in various ways can contribute to what is communicated in vlogs. Then, the shape and meaning and wider trajectory of vlogs is shaped by the ways in which mommy bloggers interact with various digital tools to edit, upload, and later circulate, and then tie vlogs to other social media content, such as previously posted or subsequently posted vlogs. For instance, here in the description box, after editing and producing the vlog, we have lots of different. They are selecting a title, they're giving the video categories, like a license, filling a description box. Afterwards, they might even link to another video. So they're engaging with all of these tools that are given by social media. And finally, blog tellership is distributed in the sense that participants in social media interaction, here for instance in the comment section, can assume various participation roles vis-a-vis blogs by engaging with them in comment sections and other online sites of interaction. So, in various ways, stories told through mommy blogging travel beyond the people who have experienced, who have even been eyewitnesses to the reported events. So mommy bloggers, for instance, not only narrate their own experiences, they also speak for, through, and in some cases as on-screen figures. So for instance, most often those will be their kids or their spouses. And furthermore, audiences to blogs, through their engagement with blogs, can interpret and reframe experiences of on-screen interactions. And as argued by Amy Schumann, making the claim to be able and entitled to tell stories about other people's lives is a precarious claim that is open to challenges of entitlement and accuracy. And what I found is that these kind of negotiations of who gets to tell whose lives, when, how, are rather common in the mommy blogging community, where people try to work out conventions for how to narrate these women's lives. Yes. So when I've shown mommy blogs to people in the past, many of them have been rather shocked by how much mommy bloggers really share of their own and also family members' lives. And have asked me, and I'm a psychologist, and I've been asked really often if these women actually are exhibitionists or if they're narcissists, or if I could kind of just provide an explanation, I think not the right diagnosis or something that would explain what they're doing. But what I've found is that participants in the community continuously negotiate conventions of appropriate disclosure, and then also fine-tune these conventions to specific circumstances. So it might look weird from the outside, but actually, I mean, these people in the community are actually trying to work out a way to do this, or to story these women's lives that seems right to them. Specifically, what I've found is that in the wake of unexpected life events that interrupt everyday life, which is really what mommy blogs are all about, mommy bloggers in various ways claim ownership of their stories and reconsider what they share, how they share it, and also renegotiate the degree to which their audiences can become co-tellers of the stories that are told about these events. And the most common ways of narrating unexpected life events that interrupt mommy bloggers' lives are to explicitly just refrain from sharing these experiences in blogs, maybe alluding to them, kind of teasing, sharing a little bit and then not telling. Or sharing late, and then sharing in retrospect, saying what you didn't know. These are all examples of this type of video where you say, oh, really, what happened a year ago was. So once things once normality is back, then they share. Or not monetizing content. So sharing, but then explicitly not monetizing the videos. And the most common ways of controlling audience contributions in times of interruptions is to use others as gatekeepers, for instance, to get the women, or these bloggers often get their husbands to read the comments for them, or to filter the comments, filter the bad ones out, or to request specific audience contributions. For instance, don't tell me this, or please tell me a nice story because I'm doing a nice story now, or just to request specific contributions. To set comments on approval only, so that will allow them to moderate which comments will become public at least, so they will read them all, but they can control which comments others get to read, or to disable comments altogether. So the participatory architecture of social media sites such as YouTube provide specific asymmetrically distributed rights to participants. For instance, mommy bloggers and not the audiences can determine what is included in blogs and what is not included. Mommy bloggers can also disable comments, or they can take down videos, so they can delete comments. So they have tools that non-video making participants in this community don't have. However, audiences can easily, through use of other technologies, overcome these limitations. For instance, by downloading and re-uploading videos that bloggers have deleted, or by retrieving and sharing personal information about bloggers that they or other people might have shared in the past, or that they maybe never have shared, but that people just kind of find and then share. So while the facilities of YouTube and other social media sites may pre-establish certain participation roles, participants in social media interaction can take ownership of mommy blogger stories to a degree that goes far beyond what mommy bloggers have granted them, effectively hijacking stories that are told about them. This, for instance, happens, these sorts of transgressions of entitlement I see a lot in the community that's called the YouTube Mama Drama community, or forum, the forum, YouTube Mama Drama forum, which is a public forum that is devoted to just discussing mommy bloggers' lives. And many of these discussions revolve around allegations of inauthenticity, and deception, and mommy bloggers, the veracity of mommy bloggers' representations is questioned. So, what participants in this community do is to lift personal information provided by mommy bloggers from the context in which it has been shared on YouTube or Facebook or other social media sites, and then to re-embed this information into the forum where it's spun into these reconfigured by new practices, other sort of content and interpersonal relationships, and doing so somewhere where mommy bloggers really have no power, no control over what's happening. So they can't do anything about this. And common activities include manipulations of the sequential ordering of events. For instance, here where a person has made this kind of new configuration of blogs posted by a specific mommy blogger, or semiatizations of material provided by bloggers, such as here where a person is really also video where a person has just reconstructed a mommy blogger's house in a Sims universe and then walks the viewers through the house and tells us where she's sitting and what the family members are doing, and it's really quite scary. And furthermore, participants collect, report, and then collectively analyze information that has about mommy bloggers' lives that they themselves have never shared, that participants just have found online or offline. Interestingly, participants in the YouTube Normal Drama Forum continuously negotiate norms of acceptable transgression themselves. So they are kind of developing conventions for how they can transgress the entitlements that mommy bloggers grant them. For instance, in this case where a person has retrieved and uploaded court documents to prove that a mommy blogger's husband is in fact in prison, yet carefully edits out addresses and phone numbers, and also explicitly mentions this to others. So certain things are allowed, certain things are really not allowed. Or here, where viewers or participants in this forum have identified their new girlfriend of a mommy blogger's ex-husband and share the links to her social media profiles in a public forum, yet agree that contacting her would definitely be creepy. And yes, before concluding this presentation, which I will in a second, I want to point out that it's not only the accuracy of mommy bloggers' representations of their lives that is scrutinized in social media interaction, but audiences also in various sites very actively engage in discussions of mommy bloggers' entitlement to rate others' lives in public social media environments, particularly questions related to how to include family members are discussed a lot, mainly in families where parents are no longer a couple. And in some cases have found new partners and then maybe even have stepchildren. And so those kinds of negotiations I see many of as well. So to conclude, what I hope to have shown in this presentation is that when trying to understand women's self-representation in social media, it's important to be aware of and also attend to the ways in which these presentations are developed in interaction between users' language choices, affordances and constraints of increasingly directive social media sites, local interaction between social media participants, as well as relationships, practices and norms developed over time among participants. And I've argued that in mommy blogs, women can represent motherhood through recordings of embodied interaction. Women can represent lives as mothers through embodied enactments of motherhood that then are shared. And then the facilities for interaction with content and people provided by social media allow women to invite others to contribute to these representations, effectively becoming or inviting others to become co-narrators of their lives. And then women potentially can develop more or less shared understandings of what it really means to be a mother, to become a mother and live a family life. However, while social media platforms offer content producers, in this case mommy bloggers, various tools to monitor and control audience contributions, the persistence, searchability, replicability, and searchability of content shared in social media can lead to unforeseen and hard to control and often also unwanted amplifications, make it hard to control the direction that the story really takes. So to understand what women, in this case mothers, do when sharing their lives online, we also need to understand how social media users handle the flow of personal information shared with social media to negotiate these potential gains, but also the risks of living online.